We are going to build a plant doctor model, which will basically take in an image that contains a plant which is unhealthy. It will look at the image and then give us a prompt response, which will typically look like a prescription, and it will say what has to be done to get the plant back onto its healthy stage. Now, to do this, I will be using the Gemini LLM, and to access Gemini LLM, we will have to use their own API key. So first off, we will be acquiring that API key and then storing it in a .env file. This will be my environment file. And once we have that on our hands, we can now access the requested Gemini vision model. And then once I access that, I will be building a base model to just check if the base model is working perfectly. And then after building that base model, I will be giving it a prompt template, which contains two parameters. One is the image itself and the other one is the system date. And the reason why I'm giving the system date is we want the model to give us a series of actions that has to be followed for the coming week, and it has to give us the dates as well. And then it will also give us the next checkup date. That is typically how a doctor would do. And once we give that prompt template onto the model, it will be assigned with the role of plant doctor, and then it will give us a response text based upon looking at the image. And then once we get that response, I will be creating an interface to put all of these information on screen. To do this, I will be using Streamlit. Now that you know all of those, let's just get on to our first step, which is acquiring the API key for Gemini LLM. In order for you to get the API key, you will have to get to this page, aistudio.google.com, link in the description. And you will first select the model that you will need. And for this case, Gemini 1.5 Pro is sufficient. So I'm just going to stick with that. And then you will click on Get API Key. This is completely free. Just click on Create API Key. This will create a new project. And then inside of that project, you can generate an API key for completely free. Alright, so once the API key has been generated, you can just copy that. I will firstly be creating a .env file. This is where we will be storing the API key. And then I will also type in requirements.txt. This text file will contain all of the modules that we will need. We can use this file to directly pip install all of the modules rather than just typing it out one by one. Then we will also have a main.py file. This is where we will have the meat part of the code. So inside of the .env file, first thing that I'm going to do is create a variable that will be saying Google API. Now notice the capitalization. You will have to capitalize this to make sure that it works with the Google module that we will be working on. You will paste your own API key, and then once this is done, save the .env file and then get to main.py. Now over here, the first thing that I will be importing, google.generativeai as GenAI. Alright, so the first module that we will need will be Google. So I'm just going to go over here and type in Google. That will be needed. Save this and get over here. And then I will need the OS module as well. This is pre-installed. So now what I'm going to do is set the configuration to the GenAI version. So what I will be doing is accessing the genai.configure function. And inside that, use the os.environ function and then get the API key. It says GenAI API, but it's Google API key. Save it. And then this will configure and allow us for us to use the Gemini 1.5 Pro model. So to create that model itself, let's just create a base model. It will be GenAI.generative model, this one. And then you will mention the model name, which will be Gemini 1.5 Pro. That you can also use the Gemma model, which I will make sure to make a video on Gemma as well. We now will have a base model. You can ask generalized questions to it. Let's just try that. Response will be model.generate content. So you can ask a simple question. Let's say generate your own lorem ipsum. By the way, this is just a sample prompt. You can try to ask questions as well to it just to see the base model is working or not. And then I will print this response.text. Alright, so this will make sure that we get only the text response that the model gave. Save this and then run the code file. It gives us random text that is its own lorem ipsum text because that is what I asked for it to generate. So let me just try out maybe a question this time. How to make a cake along with ingredients. Yep, that looks fine. So let me just save this and delete and run this once again. All right, so we will have to first provide the information about the ingredients that we have. So let's just actually take this out. Let's see how to make a cake itself directly. Let me just save this. And then it gives us the entire guide to making a complete cake. Really nice. So our model is perfectly working. Now we will have to create a prompt template that is just basically assigning a role to the model. That is the plant doctor role. And then we will also have to provide a few parameters to it. I'm going to provide the date and the image. So by looking at the image, the model will identify what is the problem, and then it will give us the solutions that we have to follow for a set amount of time. So that is why I'm also going to provide the date so that it should act as a plant doctor literally. So over here, go ahead and import date time just to access the date from system. Actually, from date time, we will import date time like that. And then I will also have to provide in an image. To access that image, I will be importing PIL library from Python, and then we will be importing it. the image function from it. Once we've done that, we can now assign a role to the model, and to use the prompt template, we have to use LangChain. From LangChain.prompts, we will import prompt template. All right, so this time notice that we have used LangChain, and this is a module that has to be installed. So I'm going to go to requirements.txt, and over here, let me just type in LangChain. This is a module that we will be needing. And then now what we have to do is create a basic prompt template that we have to give to the model. The prompt will be, I already have a docstring prompt, and instead of this, let me just paste it. So this will be the prompt template, and basically says that you are a plant doctor assigning a role. That is, I've assigned a role, and then I've said you're tasked with diagnosing the health of a plant in the image. That is, it will be provided with an image, and then it has to process the image to identify the problem. And we have already mentioned that the plant is unhealthy. If you provide an image of a healthy plant, it does not mean that it is going to still find some form of problem with the plant. If the plant is completely fine, it is going to return a text saying that the plant is fine. And then if you try to put in an image which is just completely random, which is not even related to plants, it will say that one as well. So we are asking what is the diagnosis, or what is the treatment that has to be done, and then we will provide the date by using the formatting method. And then also we're asking for the dates of actions that has to be done. And then finally, we are also asking for us to know when the next checkup is going to be. Once that the prompt is there, we will have to get the system date this time. So what I'm going to do over here is just type in current date will be date time now, and then I will need the year month format. So we just type that manually, datetime.now function, and then str for time, this function, and then inside this, the first thing that I will need will be year, and then I will need the month, and then I will need the day. Follow that hours, minutes, and seconds. So this is the format that I will need time in from my current system. And then we will pass that current date as the parameter over here. We will also have to provide in the image, and for that I will be using Streamlit. But before I get to that, I will use the prompt template function to create a prompt template directly. We just have the prompt as a docstring. So in order for us to create a prompt template, let me just first create prompt template, the function that we imported, and then we pass in the prompt. And then I will create a formatted prompt, taking the current date as the date over here. And then we use the format function from prompt template that we created to update the current prompt that we're going to provide to the model. Now with this, we will also have to provide the image, and I'm going to use Streamlit to actually get the image from the user. Let's just import Streamlit directly, and then we will use the image function that we imported from PIL. So import Streamlit as ST. So the next module that we will be needing that has to be installed will be Streamlit. So I will put that on to requirements.txt, Streamlit, like that, save it, get over here. I will first go over here and then set a title, sd.title for our interface will be Plant Doctor. So when you run the Streamlit application itself, you will see the title has to be Plant Doctor, and then you will print a message saying upload an image of the plant you want to diagnose, and you will get uploaded file. That will be a file that I create, which will use the file uploader function from ST, and then choose an image, and then the type will be JPEG, but then you can also mention other types as well. So what I'm going to do here is create a list of types. Have this one, maybe also add in JPEG and then PNG, like that. So have a list of image types that you can upload, and then we can ask for it to choose an image, and this message will be just to say that you will have to upload an image over here. So this thing will give us a box where we can actually upload the image itself. And once this is done, it will have some form of value rather than being none. And once this is not none, we can use the image function to load in the image itself. Put all of this inside of a tab function, and then check for a condition, which is if uploaded file is not none. So we have to make sure that the user uploads a file. And once the uploaded file is not none, we get the date, and then we also create a prompt template passing in the date as well, and then we also have a base model. We will have to now again process the image. So write in image will be image.open the uploaded file. All right, so now we have the image loaded, and then now we have the date loaded. We have the prompt template which takes in the image and the date, and now we have to provide all of this information to our model to get a generated text. And this is very, very simple. Actually, fully cut this out. There's two things that we're going to provide to model. All right, so first thing is going to be image, and then I will also provide the formatted prompt. Yeah, formatted prompt will contain the date in the dates area, and then we will also have the image as directly uploaded. All right, so these are the two things that we will give, and the model, based upon having these two information, will have to give us a text. And then rather than just typing it out like this, Once again, I will use the st.write function and then give the response.text to just only get the text of the model that is generated. Now, once we have done this, to make sure that this code is working perfectly, let me just run this. It should give us a message saying that to view this in Streamlit app or browser, what you have to do is copy this and paste it. So rather than just doing this directly, I recommend you to first run the file that you've actually written code with to see if it's actually working perfectly. I can just directly write the path alone. So let me just type in Streamlit run main.py, and this should actually take us to the browser, and it does. So we get to the interface itself. Now it says that this is Plant Doctor and we will have to upload an image. So let me just go over here, and instead of the pictures, I will have 2 pictures just to test out how the model is working. So let me just open this, and then we get an error. All right, I just realized that we have to mention this to be template. This will be template, and then I also made a spelling error. Now it should hopefully work on it. All right, now it works. So let me just type in streamlit run main.py. This will take us to our browser, and over here we will have to upload our image. We just give in this image. Now it should generate a text and internal error as occurred. By the way, if you see this internal error, you just simply run the model once again. It could be because of various reasons. Let me just delete this. Run this streamlit run main.py. Enter. This will ask for me to upload an image. I'll do that. All right, so now we have response of the model itself. Let me just actually zoom in a little bit. We get the response alone, and in order for you to see the image that you have uploaded, let me just get to that in a second. But before that, we see that the model has actually used the date to give us a prescription. It has given the name of the plant itself, and then what is the problem of it, how has it happened, and then what can be actually done to save this in terms of dates. All right, and the next checkup date has also been provided. It has given a note as well. Now, this is the text that is generated by the model, but we have to see our actually uploaded image as well. So to do that, let me just go to the code file, go over here. And inside this, the thing that I'm going to type in is st.image, and then just this function is responsible for displaying an image, and the image that we have to display will be the image that we obtained, and then the caption will be uploaded image. You will use the column width, that is to fill the entire window. Now that that is done, you can actually run this code. So streamlit run py. This will take us to our browser, pass the plant image. And this time you will see the image that you uploaded itself along with the generated text by the model, right? So now this time you get a similar response, and then you also get to see the image itself. All right, you can also convert this to a chatbot application and go on to ask questions on this same topic. And to do this, we have already done a video on creating any type of chatbot with this same Gemini and Streamlit. I recommend you to check that out. And as always, to import all of these modules, what you have to do is just go to command prompt and then type in pip install -r and then type in requirements.txt. And then when you type this is going to say that all of the packages have been installed, but then Google just got updated. But these are the 3 modules that you will need. So I'll make sure to put the GitHub repository in the description box below for you to access the code itself. And then if you want to see the creation of chatbot with this same Gemini API, I will leave a link to that onto your screen right now.